The ironclad alliance between US and Ukraine is falling apart. The US is frustrated. It wants to end the war with Russia and focus on the bigger fish, that is China. White House is now asking Ukraine to surrender Bakhmut and Crimea to Russia. But Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has gone out of control. Hi and welcome, you're watching Outright. We tell you the right side of the story. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for such outright videos. The battle in Bakhmut is going on. Hundreds of troops from both sides have perished so far in the city. But Ukraine is not abandoning the area, and that is what is making US annoyed. As per a report by Politico, the US wants Ukraine to hand over Bakhmut to Russia. Why? Because the city is strategically unimportant and Ukraine is draining a lot of resources here. A lot of ammunition and manpower is getting wasted. As per US officials, the Battle of Bakhmut could make Ukraine so weak that it may never stand on its feet again. And even if Ukraine wins here, it will only be considered a symbolic victory because Bakhmut will never alter the course of the war. But Kyiv has so far ignored the American input. But that's not the only point of contention. Here are a few more. US is angry with Ukraine because it believes some pro-Ukraine groups sabotaged the Nord Stream pipelines last year. After this report came out, US made it very clear to Kyiv that such acts of violence outside of Ukraine's borders will not be tolerated. Some US officials also told Politico that there have been grumblings in the White House about the constant requests by Kyiv for weapons and at times Zelensky not showing appropriate behavior. One reason why Kyiv is not happy is that US is not providing it with long-range missiles. But America says there are few to spare in America's own arsenal. There is also fear that Ukraine might strike faraway Russian targets, potentially escalating the war. The next source of tension between Kyiv and Washington is the Pentagon's refusal to help the international court investigate Russia's war crimes in Ukraine. Moreover, the US has now told Ukraine explicitly that it cannot keep funding Ukraine at this level forever. The war has to stop at a point. Ukraine must negotiate. But Zelensky's tantrums are becoming a grave headache for the US now. He wants Crimea back before peace talks are held. But Secretary of State Antony Blinken has signaled to Kyiv that Ukraine's potential recapture of Crimea would be a red line for Putin, possibly leading to a dramatic escalation from Moscow. Moreover, the Pentagon has consistently expressed doubts about whether Ukraine's forces, despite being armed with sophisticated Western weapons, would be able to dislodge Russia from Crimea, where it has been entrenched for nearly a decade. Washington is also about to change its Ukraine policy now. So far, the US would say all the decisions about war and peace will be taken by Kyiv only. But now, whispers have begun as to how feasible that approach would be. US cannot keep expanding its arsenal on Ukraine even as the Chinese threat keeps getting bigger and bigger with each passing day. 2 weeks ago, the US Navy Secretary said they were failing to keep up with Beijing. Biden and company have understood that Ukraine is fast becoming a graveyard of its political and military prowess. It is time to get out and focus on issues of significance. It is time to leave Ukraine to fend for itself and stop China from breathing hellfire down its neck.